Hey designers, in this tutorial, we're going to create this animation in After Effects. Let's get started. Begin by creating a new composition. Use the Type tool to write the text. I'll paste the text here, which reads "Discover a new taste sensation." Next, ensure the anchor point is in the center. Double-click on the anchor point icon while holding down Ctrl, Command on Mac, to center it. Now, go to Effects and Presets and search for Text Box. Drag and drop the 2D text box onto the composition and position it below the text layer. Choose a color for the box. Let's use this color. Remove the stroke. Change the layer from none to your text layer. Discover a new taste sensation. Good. Now, adjust the text box size by changing the padding overall value. You can make it smaller or larger by increasing or decreasing this value. After that, let's round the corners of the box by increasing the roundness value. So, if you decrease the size of the text box will also adjust accordingly. Let's decrease the character size a bit, and you'll notice the text box follows the size of the text. Now, adjust other parameters such as roundness and padding as needed. After that, let's rotate the text. When you rotate the text box will rotate as well. Head over to Effects and Presets and search for Fill Color Wipe. Drag and drop it onto the text layer. It's currently showing a red vibe, but we'll change this color. This wipe effect should be a bit faster, so, to do that, press U to reveal the keyframes. Now, let's move the second keyframe closer to the first one to speed up the animation. Okay, now go back to the options. Navigate to Animator 1, and change the color from red to black. Let's see how the animation looks now. Let's animate the position of the text layer. Press P for position, move 5 frames forward. Click on the stopwatch next to position, then move the playhead to the first frame and adjust the position to make it move downward. Okay, it seems a bit fast, so let's move the keyframe to the 10th frame. Select these keyframes, and press F9 to apply Easy Ease. Go to the graph editor and adjust the graph like this. Now, we want the color wipe effect to happen after the text has returned to its original position. Press U to reveal all the keyframes. The first set is for the color wipe animation, and the second set is for the position animation. Select the keyframes of the color wipe and move them to the point where the position animation ends, like this. Let's see how it looks now. Good. Alright. Let's import the logo. Navigate to the project and import the logo file. Here's the logo. Drag and drop it onto the timeline. Let's scale it down. Okay. This is the animation we just created. However, we want the logo to appear on top of the text. Select the text layer, and press U to reveal the keyframes. Move to the frame where the text returns to its original position. Adjust its position slightly downwards to center it. Also, align it properly. Now, move the logo layer on top of the text layer. Good. Now, let's apply the zoom spiral animation to the logo. Go to Effects and Presets and search for Zoom Spiral. Drag and drop it onto the logo layer. Let's preview it. It seems a bit slow, so let's make it faster by adjusting the keyframes. Press U to reveal all the keyframes. Then, select the last keyframe and move it closer to the first keyframe. OK. Good. Now, offset the text layer to the point where the logo animation has ended. Move it there. Let's preview the result. Great. Let's scale up the logo a bit. Now, let's create a new solid. Go to Layer, New, Solid. Here, I'll paste the color code for the solid. OK. Let's also make the text a bit smaller. OK. Now we'll import the other elements for this animation. Let's import the blackberry, cherry, nut, and pista PNGs. These are transparent PNGs for animation. Now, let's create a new composition by clicking here. We'll use the same size. OK. Now, drop these imported elements onto the timeline. Let's focus on the cherry layer first. Make this cherry layer solo. Select the layer, press S for scale, and scale it down. Now, let's apply the wiggle effect to it. In Effects and Presets, search for Wiggle. Drag the wiggle rotation onto the cherry layer. Let's preview it. It's rotating too much. We want it to rotate less. To do that, decrease the wiggle speed to 0.6 and the wiggle amount to 15%. OK. Let's see. Now it looks better. Next, select the wiggle position and drag it onto the cherry layer as well. You'll notice that the position is also moving too much. To fix this, decrease the wiggle speed of the position to 0.5 and the wiggle amount to 20%. OK. Now change the positions of these cherry layers and press S for scale to adjust their sizes. One should be smaller, one bigger, and one in between, each with different scales. OK. Now select this cherry layer. We're going to copy the wiggle rotation and wiggle position effects. To do that, select the wiggle rotation and its transform, and the wiggle position and its transform. Then press Ctrl+C on the keyboard to copy these effects. Now, select the blackberry layer. Scale it down using S. Press Ctrl V to paste the effect here. Good. Now, let's also make duplicates of this BlackBerry layer by pressing Ctrl D on the keyboard. I'll duplicate it twice. Now, let's change the positions and placements of these layers accordingly. After that, select the nut layer and let's give it a different color. How about making it yellow? Now, select all the BlackBerry layers and give them a different color too. Let's go with red for them. Let's proceed. Press S for scale and scale it down. Press Ctrl V to paste the effect here. Now, make duplicates of them by pressing Ctrl D on the keyboard. Change the positions of these duplicates. After that, select them one by one, scale them down, and apply rotation to each of them as well. Great! Now, only the pista layer is left. Select the pista layer, change its color to orange. First press S for scale and scale it down. Press Ctrl V to paste the effect here. Now, duplicate it by pressing Ctrl D on the keyboard and change the positions of them. Let's rotate a few of them as well and change their scales. Okay, once all the adjustments are made, let's fine-tune the positions of all these fruits. Once that's done, select all the cherry layers first, press P for position, and we'll make them appear on the screen from the bottom to their original positions. Move the playhead to the 10th second frame. You can use the shortcut key by pressing Ctrl, Shift, and the right arrow key on the keyboard to move the playhead to the 10th frame. Click on the stopwatch next to position. Then, move the playhead 10 frames backward, meaning to the first frame. You can do this by pressing Ctrl, Shift, and the left arrow key to move the playhead to the first frame. Now, move all of these cherries downwards. Select all the cherry layers and move them downwards like this. Once done, select all the keyframes, press F9 to ease them, and then go to the graph editor to edit the graph as shown. OK, now come back. Select all the BlackBerry layers. Move the playhead 10 frames forward. You can use the shortcut key by pressing Ctrl, Shift, and the right arrow as a shortcut key for it. OK. Now trim this layer. Trim this BlackBerry layer from the start by pressing Alt and the left square bracket. Press P for position. Move 10 frames forward. Add a keyframe to the position. Now, move 10 frames backward and move these blackberries downwards like this. Now, let's continue with the animation. Select all the pista layers. Move 10 frames forward. Then, trim them from the start by pressing Alt and the left square bracket. Move another 10 frames forward. Click on the stopwatch next to position. Move 10 frames backward, and move them downwards like this. Select all these keyframes and press F9 to ease them. We forgot this step for the BlackBerry PNGs, so we'll do it later after this. Now, go to the graph editor and let's adjust the graph. Adjust it like this, and then close it. Now, select all the BlackBerry PNGs. Press U to see their keyframes. Select all the keyframes. Press F9 to ease them. Go to the graph editor and adjust the graph like this. OK, so nuts are left. Select all the nut layers. Move 10 frames forward. Now, select these nut layers. Press Alt and the left square bracket to trim the layers. Move another 10 frames forward. Press P for position. Click on the stopwatch next to position. Move 10 frames backward, and move them downward like this. Select all the keyframes, press F9 to ease them, and then go to the graph editor to adjust the graph like this. OK. Let's go back to Composition 1. Now, let's navigate to the Project panel. Find Composition 2, drag and drop it onto Composition 1. This animation will occur for a few seconds, and then before moving to the next page of the animation, the elements in this composition will move downwards. So let's select this fruit animation first and animate it in a way so that they move downwards after a few seconds. We want this animation to move downwards, so press P for position. Click on the stopwatch next to position. Move a few frames forward and move it downward. Select them and move them a bit to the right. Good. Now, we will apply position and scale animation to this logo. So, select the logo, press S for scale and P for position. Click on the stopwatch next to position and on the scale. Move a few frames forward and move this logo to the top left corner. Add a blank keyframe to the scale. Again, move to the previous keyframe. Move one frame forward and make the scale 0. Let's see how it looks. Click and drag on the pen tool and select the Convert Vertex tool. Select one point and let's make this line curved like this. Let's see the animation now. Okay. We want this text and the text box to move downwards too. So we will apply the same position animation like we did on Composition 2. Select this Composition 2 layer. Press U to see the keyframes. Now, select this text layer. Press P for position. Add a blank keyframe here. Then move a few frames forward and make it go downwards like this. To indicate when we want the next animation page to appear, let's use a marker. I think 4 seconds is the time where the next animation will appear. So, move the playhead there, and click on this composition marker bin to add a marker here. This marker will indicate that our next animation will start from this point. Let's proceed with creating the new composition. Create a new composition with the same size. Right-click here and let's import the ice cream transparent PNG. Drag and drop it onto the timeline. Scale it down by pressing S for scale and adjust the size like this. Okay, here we want to add some text as well, so take the Type tool and paste your text here. Adjust the position of the text and increase its size. We also want a text box here, so go to Effects and Presets and search for 2D text box. Drag and drop it onto the composition. Give it a color. I will remove the stroke from here. Okay. Before making this layer from none to this text layer, we need to move this shape layer below this text layer. Adjust the padding overall value. Now select this Nutty Fusion text and give it a different color. Also, give it a white stroke to make it more visible, creating an overstroked effect. Okay, select this text layer and move its anchor point to the center for both the text layer and the shape layer. Now select this text layer. Press R for rotation. Set the rotation value to -3. Click on the stopwatch next to rotation. Move 10 frames forward. Set it to 3. Again. Move 10 frames forward. Select both these frames and press Ctrl C to copy them. Press Ctrl V to paste the effect here. Move 20 frames forward. Press Ctrl V to paste the effect here. Move 20 frames forward again. Press Ctrl V to paste the effect here. Select the shape layer 1. Go to the roundness and increase the roundness value. Okay. Now this is a perfect oval shape. Now, let's check the rotation. I think it is rotating very slightly. So, Let's change the values from -3 and 3 to -4 and 4. Set the first value to -4, move forward, and set it to 4. Let's quickly do this for all keyframes. Let's see the animation now. Alright, this looks better. Let's proceed with the adjustments. First, select this ice cream PNG. Right-click, go to Layers, Styles, and select Stroke. Now, go to Stroke Options, give it a white stroke, and increase the stroke size. Select this text layer and press U to see the keyframes of it. We will also apply position animation to it, so press P for position. Click on the stopwatch next to position. Move 10 frames forward. Add a blank keyframe, then move 10 frames backward and make it go downward. Select the position keyframes. Press F9 to ease them, and go to the graph editor to adjust the graph like this. Now, we want this rotation animation to happen after it comes to its original position. Select all the rotation keyframes and move them to the point where the position animation ends. Press Alt on your keyboard and move them to the right a bit so that the animation becomes a little bit slower. Now it's looking good. Select this ice cream PNG and press Ctrl D to make a duplicate of it. Duplicate it twice. Select both the PNGs at the bottom. Press S for scale and scale it down. Now press P for position and move one to the left and move one to the right. I think I have made them very small. So select both of these layers again. Press S for scale and scale them up a bit. This is looking good now. Adjust the positions of all of these ice creams. Now take the rotation tool and rotate these two small ice cream layers. After adjusting their positions, we'll pre-compose this layer. Select all of these ice cream layers. Go to Layer, Pre-compose, and pre-compose them. But before rotating, we need to make sure that the anchor point is somewhere here. Now, rotate this ice cream like this. Click on the stopwatch next to rotation. Now move 10 frames forward. Give it -9 rotations. Again, move 10 frames forward, make it 9. Move 10 frames forward and give it -9 rotations. Now, press P for position. Click on the stopwatch next to position. Move to the first frame, and make this ice cream go downwards. Now select all the rotation keyframes and place them at the point on the 10th frame where the position animation ends. Good, now go to the last frame of the rotation. First, press Ctrl C to copy all of these 4 keyframes. Move 10 frames forward and press Ctrl V to paste these frames here. Select all of them now and right-click. Then select Toggle Hold Keyframe because we don't want the actual animation of these keyframes. We just want the time when it is animated like the stop motion graphic. First, select this text layer and press U to see its keyframes. Go to the keyframes. Here it comes to its original position and move it a bit downwards because on the top left corner would be the logo. So we need space for it as well. Now we'll make a new solid here. Go to Layer, New, Solid, and select the color for the solid. Move the solid layer downwards. Once it's done, go back to Composition 1. And go to the project. Move Composition 3. Drag and drop it onto the timeline and move it to the point where we marked. Let's see the animation now. Good. But we need to have this logo layer on top. So move this logo PNG layer to the top. And now let's see the animation. Here we can see the logo on top is very big. Press U to see its keyframes. Go to the last keyframe and scale it down to 20% and adjust the position as well. Go to Composition 3, select this text layer, and scale it down like this. Now let's go back to Composition 1 and see the animation. And your animation is done. If you found this video helpful, like it, comment on this video, and subscribe to Ace Design.